Hello, can everybody hear me? Hello, can you all hear me? And is this better than last week? I would love to know if it is better than last week. And I would love to see the comments. I really worked my best to ensure that there are no cracks and there are no pauses and all that. So I would love to, let me see if I can see the comment section. Okay. Yeah, I can see the comment section. Let me know if you can see me, and let me know. Just put hello in the comment section. I'm using my cell phone because I don't want what happened last week to happen when there's so many cracks. I had to get I'm seeing a lot of people. Welcome. I do see 2 comments. Let's see. I see 2 comments. Okay, so that's me alongside Ciwsrc. They're welcome. So yeah, my name is Beatrice Oti, and I am a business partner with Canada International Walk-in Study Resources Center. And today, I believe last week we talked about coming to Canada in terms of studying and working. Now the video was a little bit bad. I do apologize for it. I will try and get another video across. I also wanted to mention we also conduct a podcast. You can check the website. The website is www.ciwsrc. You can see it scrolling on your screen. So please do well to check out that website so you can get in touch with the podcast. You can listen to it and make better informed decisions before moving to Canada. So today we'll be talking about what is the best province for you, and this goes to the students, people who are coming to study in Canada. It goes to you because I always like sharing my story. I regretted living in Ontario. If I could turn back the hands of time, I would have lived in Nova Scotia or Saskatchewan or a different province where it's easier for you to immigrate. Especially if the end product, if after studying you want to stay back in Canada, it would be easier if you're living in a province where the requirement is not intense, it's not time consuming, and you're not wasting so much time and regret. So the reason I chose this topic, hi. I'm using my phone right now, so I'm not sure if, let me see. I really don't want to stop this screen, so I don't think I can reply right now. Yeah, I don't think I can reply right now. Tony Bafor. Yeah, hello. Can you hear me clearly? Just let me know if you can hear me clearly. Are there any cracks, Tony? Are there any cracks so everything is going smoothly? Hello? Let me know if everything is going smoothly. I really worked my best to ensure there are no internet interruption. I had to get Virgin Mobile network, and that's unlimited internet speed. So just want to make sure there are no cracks. Everything is smooth. You can hear me very well, and there are no interruptions. Awesome. Thank you. So we'll get into what is the best province for you, okay? Now, before I begin, Canada has 10 provinces, so I'm going to list the 10 provinces, and I'm going to count them as I list them so we don't make a mistake, because on the podcast, I counted 9 instead of 10. So we have 10 provinces in Canada. We have Ontario, number 1. We have Nova Scotia. We have New Brunswick. We have Quebec. We have Manitoba. We have Alberta, Saskatchewan, British Columbia, Newfoundland and Labrador, and Prince Edward Island. So we have 10 provinces. Now we do have 3 territories. I wouldn't really dive into the territories right now because territories are people really don't utilize those. People don't usually go there to live or reside, and that's because their constitution and government, the constitution is done by those territories. It's not done by the federal government, and it's a little bit the overlays and oversight kind of. So I'm going to focus on the provinces. Immigrants go to the provinces more often than the territories. So every single province has what they call provincial nomination. I don't want to confuse you, so I'm going to break everything down. I'm going to start with immigrating to Canada, because most immigrants who come to Canada after studying, they work, and after working, the end goal is permanent residence, which is immigration. So I want my viewers to have like a roadmap. I want them to have a roadmap. Okay, before coming to Canada, before studying in Canada, I already have, when you have like a vision board, you know where you're going, and then you just walk backwards. That's what I want to do for my viewers. I want you guys to draw a board and say, okay, the end goal, which province am I going to go to? I've listed those 10 provinces for you. And then you're going to study, let's say you're going to do your postgraduate, or you're going to do your PhD, or you're going to do your BSc, whatever. And then you just draw the map and say, okay, at the end result, I'm going to go back to Ontario, or I'm going to go back to Nova Scotia, or whatever. So the province we're going to talk about today is Nova Scotia. And that's the province I should have gone to. And the reason why I'm talking about choosing the best province for you is because you need to save time, you need to save money, and you need to save yourself some stress, because stress gets you older, right? People tell me I look younger than my age, but to me, I know I could have looked even younger than this because I stress myself a lot, so especially regret. I regretted living in Ontario. If I could turn back the hands of time, I would never live in Ontario. It's expensive, ridiculously expensive. Things are too things are structured, but they are structured in a very what's the word? They are structured in a very archaic way. Like in other provinces, things are done a little bit modernized, a little bit advanced, but Ontario is a little bit archaic. Or if you want to get your provincial nominee, or you have to go through this paperwork. And I'm like, this is Canada. This is not like an ancient country, or is a developed nation. But they still do things in Ontario like it's developing. I know. So that's why I said I would have preferred Nova Scotia. If I was given the opportunity to start all over again, I would definitely start with Nova Scotia. So Nova Scotia, the capital of Nova Scotia is Halifax, just like the capital of Ontario is Ottawa. But before we go into detail with provincial nominee and all that, I just want to break some things down. So because a lot of people are like, what are you talking about? This whole thing doesn't make sense to me. Like, you're all over the place. So I picked Nova Scotia because it's easier to immigrate via Nova Scotia, and they you don't have to actually pay provincial nominee fee like you pay for Ontario, $1,500 and all that. And the PNP system is pretty easy and pretty flexible. Now, I'm not saying that everything goes easy. Like, definitely it's gonna take you some time and all that, but that's why we're here. And also, before I move forward, Canada Immigration Work and Study Resource Center, what we do, we offer you affordable rates. We offer you as an affordable rate. You can go through all this process with us. It is very affordable compared to other consultants that are out there. And we also ensure that your fees are refundable if you're not satisfied, because what we want to give you is quality work, 100%. We want to give you results, right? We want you to come back and say, hey, that's the consultancy firm I used, and this consultancy firm took me to the province that I really love. This consultancy firm changed my life. I was able to bring my parents, I was able to bring my family over. Oh my gosh, I will always recommend. That's what we want to hear. We don't want to hear they duped me, collected my money, and ran away. No, we don't want to hear that. We want to hear that you're recommending us. We want to hear that after you used us, 20 more people used us. Okay, that's what we want to hear. So that's why we're here to help you. So all these things I'm discussing with you can find everything on our website. And if you want to book a consultation, feel free. It's on our website. I would prefer you use the link for payment for with the Canadian payments. That's where everything runs smoothly, because for some reason Nigerian payments, except you want to visit the office in Nigeria, and the office is located in Lagos, which can be found on the website ciwsrc.ca. So let's dive in. So why are we choosing this topic? Why do I have to choose the province that works best for me? It's to save you time, to save you money, to save you stress, and to avoid regret. One thing about regret is you can't always go back, right? You'll be like, oh my gosh, if I had known it, someone had told me. I wasted 4 years. I'm being serious. When I was doing my undergrad in Ontario, in Windsor, Ontario, if I had even switched my province in my second year to Nova Scotia, I would have saved time. At the time I was waiting to get into the poll, people had already gotten their permanent residence already in other provinces. And people in Ontario were sitting down and waiting, wasting time. And time is valuable because you can't get it back. So this is the reason why you need to sit down and have like a roadmap and say, okay, which province am I going to go to? Which province is going to work best for me? Okay? So in Canada, there are Okay, there are three ways actually. There are three ways to immigrate, and immigration is like integration. Immigration is getting into the Canadian system. You being able to access loans, you being able to have like a social security number, you being able to. It's massive. The advantage of having permanent residency is massive. It's an unbeatable system, and that's why I always tell people I would choose Canada again and again and again. I had a friend who went to the US. She did her study and she went back home, and she was like, if she had known, she would have come to Canada. Nobody told her about Canada. She was assuming Canada was not the US. So no assumptions. And that's why you have this information. Please share this broadcast with your friends. Share this broadcast with anyone you know that is looking to immigrate to Canada, so that this information is massive. See, people pay money. People pay a huge amount of money just to hear this, and I'm giving it to you guys for free. Okay, please share this broadcast with people. So what are those three ways? You can immigrate via the federal system. Federal system, such as going directly to like the Quebec, because Quebec is a little bit different. It's a system on its own. Quebec has its own kind of system. So that's federal system, express entry system, and provincial nominee system. These are the three systems you can use to immigrate to Canada and get your permanent residence. Okay. Now, you can find this information on your official Canadian website, which is www.canada.ca. However, it's voluminous, and you can get lost because there are tons of things going on that website. The website has the COVID thing going on. The website has a lot of things going on. So, you really want someone to explain it to you and break it to you in pieces so you don't get confused. Like, there's tons of information. Yes, it's free there, but if they don't explain it to you, you could make mistake, you could regret, and you could lose money. And we don't want to lose money. And that's why, again, we have Canada Immigration Work and Study Resource Center. We're here to help you. We're here to give you the information and also guide you so you make that proper decision and don't, lose money and regret. Now, we've talked about the three basic ways to get your for you to get into the system, which is immigrate. And why does Canada do like immigration? Anybody knows? I really would love this session to be interactive, although I cannot actually comment, but can anybody tell me why Canada conducts immigration? Okay, let me see. Could anybody tell me why Canada conducts immigration? I would really love to know. Why do they enjoy bringing people? They could say, you know what, we don't want anybody in our country. But why are they insisting, they are letting people get into their country, flexible with it, don't mind? Can anybody tell me? I still want just one person on it. Okay. Since nobody wants to tell me, I'm going to go ahead and say, so it's to increase the GDP, okay, the gross domestic product. Canada is trying to increase her GDP, and GDP is the amount of goods and services in the system. That way the country can run, okay, for them to employ people, for them to have the capital and the assets they have, they need to increase GDP. So the immigrants are helping a lot. And with the recent trend, the birth rate has declined, and there's a lot of retirement, a lot of people in retirement, so they need the young hands and the immigrants to help the system. So that's why they conduct these immigration pathways, but I'll be focusing on provincial nomination. And remember, I said we'll have the federal, the express entry, and the provincial nomination. The reason I'm focusing more on the provincial nomination is because they give you a higher score. It's called PMP. They give you a higher score in the Ciwsrc portal, like in the express entry system. Okay, a lot of people will be like, what are you saying? What is all these things you're saying? So I'm going to define what Ciwsrc is. Ciwsrc is comprehensive ranking system. Comprehensive ranking system is an express entry system in the economic. It's an express entry system in which Canada gives an individual a unique identifying number, that would help them, get into the express entry pool. So it's a unique identifying number that will get them to the express entry pool. I'm trying to think of how I can define comprehensive ranking system. Aside from using the term number. Okay, you know how, for instance, every person have their own unique I want it to be number, I don't want to say biometrics. Everybody has their own unique vehicle number. Let me put it that way. Everybody has their own unique vehicle number. Okay, so that's how comprehensive ranking. It's a unique it's a unique it's a number they use, like, to, okay, I think I'm mixing it up. Am I mixing it up? Am I mixing it with no code? Oh, sorry, but I think I'm mixing it up with no code. Okay, comprehensive ranking system is what they use. Okay, it's what they use to conduct their draws on the express entry. Sorry about that. I mixed it up with no code. So comprehensive ranking system is the unique number that is used when conducting express entry. And express entry is an economic system where the Canadian government utilizes in integrating immigrants into their country. So express entry is a huge platform, is a huge portal that the Canadian government utilizes to bring different people into their country from different nations, people from Asia, people from South Africa, Ghana, Nigeria. Any one of them can come into Canada via the express entry system. Okay? Now, the unique identifier there is the CRS. So they usually have like a CRS draw. The highest number for CRS is 1,200. Now, you don't have to get 1,000. That's the highest number anybody can get if you add provincial nominee, age, education. Now, age, education, language, those are criteria. Those are benchmark that caps up to, to build your number. So age, if you are between 20 to 29, the age is 110. So you get the highest CRS score for that level. Language, CLB 7. CLB 7 means in your IELTS you get 7.0 in reading, listening, speaking, and writing. Okay, so usually if you go online and then the government says, well, we need the requirements of CLB 7, it usually means they want you in your reading, your listening, your speaking, and your writing to be 7.0. Okay, and then work experience. Now, the work experience is a huge umbrella. Okay, this is where no code comes in place. That's why I was being confused with the no code and the CRS, because I had already downloaded a lot of no code in my head. So yeah, sorry about that. So the work experience part is a huge platform, and express entry deals with work experience because you're bringing money to the system. So they want to make sure you have the skill. If you don't have the skill, you're not going to give you an invitation to apply. Neither are they going to even get you the PR in the first place. So you have to have so see express entry as work. You're coming to Canada to work. Okay, welcome. I see that there are 2 people. You're welcome. Make yourself comfortable. If you have any question, let me know in the chat session. And yeah, so what work skill, for the different, if you want to work in Canada, like, where will you fall in place? Are you an engineer? Are you a nurse? Are you a doctor? Where would you fall in place? So for the work skill, Canada has a system called NOC code. NOC code qualifies your job skill. And for job skill, there are 5 basic job skill types. Okay, we're going deeper now. There are 5 basic job skill types. So we have job skill O, we have job skill A, we have job skill B, we have job skill C, and we have job skill D. Oh my goodness, where did I write that again? Okay. So these are for people who want to work. So if people who want to work, this is a very beautiful webinar for you to go sit down and download it into your neurons, and then make a decision off from there. Okay, so for the different skill types here, let's see. I believe I wrote this down. Okay, so for me, when I did my express entry, I fell into skill type B. Skill type B is not really that skilled. I did technical support, so I used technical support, and my no code was 2283. My no code was 2283. So the skill type is the umbrella that defines what those different skills are, and then the no code is streamlined to the particular skill that you possess. So for skill type O is for generally managers, the people who are managers, restaurant manager, business manager, anybody that is holding a managerial role will be on that skill type O. Now, skill type A are for doctors, people who are licensed, like licensed doctors, nurses, pediatrics, psychiatrists, people who are specialists who have license. Those ones will fall under A. And then B is usually on demand. You still need a degree kind of, but it's not that serious. And so for an example of B would be electrician, technical support, plumber. And then when we come to type C is on the job training. So when you come to the job, they train you kind of like industrial busher, the chef. And then type D is really on the low. Now, that's why on the previous webinar, I mentioned that it's a myth that nobody can. It's a myth that it's a certain group of people that can come to Canada. That's a myth. Anybody can come to Canada as long as you are able to represent yourself properly. You have the requirements, you meet the eligibility criteria, you have the capital, you can come into Canada. Guaranteed. There are no special human beings that can come to Canada. It's not special. As long as the capital is there, like the things I mentioned, you meet the requirements and you're able to, verify that, okay, this is me, so that blah, blah, blah. And there are no falsification. You have the capital, you meet the requirements, you're good to go. So I talked about the skill type. Now, for instance, when I talked about type D, the reason I type D is for fruit pickers, people who do menial jobs, very, very menial. I once did that while I was in school just to earn some money. People who did menial jobs fall under type D. But guess what? Nova Scotia is currently looking for fruit cleaners and fruit pickers. So this is what I'm saying. Regardless of the skill type, if the province is in need of that skill, you can come into Canada, and then later on in life, you can always work yourself up. You can work your way up to something else. So I don't want people to be structured in their head that, oh, I have to have this, or I must have to study. Or no, there are other ways to come into Canada aside from studying. So many other ways. This is just one province. We've not even gone into Quebec. We've not gone into Ontario. We've not gone into Manitoba. It's huge. It's massive. This is just one of the provinces. Just one. And it's huge. Even this Nova Scotia, it's a whole lot. And I really believe I should have moved to Nova Scotia because the things they have, it's pretty flexible and pretty straightforward. It's not all over the place. It's not like cake. It's not burdensome like Ontario. And it's not expensive. And mind you, I forgot to add Nova Scotia minimum wage is $13.60, and it's pretty affordable compared to Ontario. Ontario, the housing now is about $2,000, and guess what? Minimum wage has not moved up. So you see why I'm saying choosing the right province matters a lot. Because if everybody's running to Toronto, if you run to Toronto and you cannot afford, God forbid, you don't want to be homeless. Let's see. Let me take off this notification. You don't want to be homeless. Seriously, you don't want to be homeless in Canada. Because that's not the goal, right? The goal is for you to succeed, to build capital, and to move forward and move up the rank. So we need to succeed. That's our biggest aim, okay? So that's why choosing the right province is very crucial. If you miss the province, if you miss the right province, you're going to hate Canada. I am serious. Because at some point, I was upset with Ontario. I was so upset. Because I was waiting in that express entry for 1 year, 2 I was upset. I was very upset. I don't know which other English to use. So choosing the right province matters a lot. If you choose the right province, you're good to go. Canada will be beautiful. You will enjoy the country. Okay? So next thing I will talk about, I've talked about the different skill type. Remember I said to calculate your CRS score, there are different criteria. There's the work, there's the education, there's the provincial nominee, there is the employment, right, which is the job, and the different skill type I mentioned. So someone like me, I fell under type B, and my NOC code was NOC 2282. So if you are a doctor, you can go check that on our website, Ciwsrc, to know what your NOC code is. If you are an entrepreneur, go check to know what your NOC code is. Okay, so where are we now? A lot of people are shy of writing the IELTS. Now, the IELTS is not an academic IELTS. Yes, you have to write an English language exam. Every province needs it. Regardless, if you would need to get into the express entry, you need it. It's part of the. If there is no language, it's not gonna create a profile for you. So you need to write the IELTS, either IELTS, TELP, TOEFL. There are tons of them out there now. If you don't want to take IELTS, you can take other exams that are substituted IELTS, like CELPIP. I took CELPIP. CELPIP is a Canadian exam, although it's computer based, but it's recognized. It's recognized by the Canadian immigration system. So the different numbers have told. So let's say Mr. Charlie, okay? Mr. Charlie wants to work in Canada. Mr. Charlie wants to come to Nova Scotia. Mr. Charlie had a 7.0 in his IELTS. Mr. Charlie NOC code is 2282. Mr. Charlie is the skill type B. And Mr. Charlie does not have provincial nomination. So Mr. Charlie's number on the Express Entry poll is sitting at 424. And then when Canada did a draw, Canada called 562. Mr. Charlie did not meet the provision. Mr. Charlie did not meet the CRS score, so he's going to wait on the poll, and God knows how long, because before they will drop that number from 532, it may be till 2050 or 2092. So you see why provincial nominee is a good thing, because provincial nominee adds an additional 600 points to your CRS score and bumps you up. That way, if the Canadian officers call any number, I've never seen any number they called and provincial nominee candidate don't get it. They always get it, except they're calling specific group of people. Okay, so that's the advantage. Provincial nominee bumps you up by 600 points. Now let's dive into Nova Scotia. Now, what is provincial nominee? Provincial nominee is an immigration program operated by the government of Canada in partnership with the provinces. So it's a program that is operated by the Canadian government, but they are partnering with the provinces. And remember, I said we have over 10 provinces, and the reason they are partnering with these provinces is so that they can generate GDP, they can make revenue. Now, a little fun thing about Nova Scotia. If you want to grab your coffee, Nova Scotia is so beautiful. I love the weather. Although the highest is 37.3, the lowest can get to negative 31, but it's pretty okay. It's pretty warm. The capital is Halifax. A lot of people go there for tourism. It's a beautiful place. And yeah, the minimum wage I said earlier is $13.60. And this is something you want to consider if you intend moving to Nova Scotia. You want to consider the minimum wage, because you'll be paying rent, you'll be feeding, your transportation. These are things you need to consider if you want to move to Nova Scotia. Excuse me, let me grab water. I'm getting... Oops. What happened? Okay, I'm getting a little bit of one sec here. Quickly grab water here. I'll be right back. Okay, sorry about that, guys. Okay. So moving on with Nova Scotia. Nova Scotia has over 8 different pathways. So if you want to utilize provincial nomination, Nova Scotia has 8 pathways. They have the Nova Scotia labor market priority. They have the physician. They have the entrepreneur, international graduate, skilled, labor, occupation in demand, and Nova Scotia experience. Okay, so that's about 8, I see. Yeah, that's about 8. So I'm gonna start with the labor market priority stream for the provincial nominee. Remember, provincial nominee is one of the pathways to immigrate to Canada, and it's the federal government collaborating with the provincial government in order to increase their GDP. And yeah, and I love Nova Scotia because in Nova Scotia you don't have to pay money to conduct your PMP. Right now, if you want us to do it for you, that's why Canada Immigration Work and Study Resources is here for you. We can help you to put those information for you. We could help you to we could help you to start your provincial nomination. We'll need some document from you, definitely. We'll need some document from you, but then we definitely would Excuse me. Give me 1 minute, please.